So here we go, the start of another cruise. This one is going to be the Ovation of the Seas, coming out of Seattle, Washington. And we flew into Seattle the night before, as you're normally supposed to do whenever you're flying to a port city. Normally for Florida, we can just drive to the ports, but with it being Seattle and all the way across the country, we didn't want to take a chance, so we flew in the night before. So we are going on a 7-night Alaska cruise. Goes from a Friday to a Friday. This was August the 23rd, 2019. So towards the end of the initial cruising season to Alaska for the Ovation. I'm pretty sure that in coming years, they will most likely bring the Ovation back to Alaska because it seemed to have been pretty popular this year. This was our first time in Seattle. There are 4 of us here on this trip, spread across 3 staterooms. My wife, Maria, and I both have a regular balcony stateroom like we normally get. Then one person in our party has a small studio stateroom, which is unique because I've never seen that on a ship before. And then the other person in our party has just a regular interior stateroom with one of the porthole windows. So not a balcony, but a nice window and everything. So because this was our first time in Seattle, we didn't know what to expect with either the city or the port. And we're used to the Florida ports, which are fairly well designed, usually easy to get in and out of in terms of like ground transportation, because we normally just drive, and so we look for like the parking garages at the Florida ports and things like that. But of course, with being Seattle, everything we're doing up here is essentially by Uber, which is what we're doing here, taking an Uber into the cruise terminal. And when we did our check-in, we told them we were going to be there, I think, at like 11. And the guy at the hotel said, yeah, you want to get picked up around 10 because of the traffic and everything, to give you plenty of time to get there, by 11 and so forth. And as it turns out, that was a pretty good idea, because the area right around the cruise terminal, the traffic can be a little bit of a problem. I don't know if you saw at the very beginning of this video, we were essentially coming down around this turn and down this hill to essentially a stop sign, if you will, and that held up traffic a little bit. But the real kind of issue with the traffic flow is about to happen right here, because we're about to get into essentially bumper-to-bumper traffic, just trying to make our way down to the cruise terminal where everybody gets dropped off. And one of those things, there's no real way around it. Even if we'd been here before and knew what to expect, just because of the layout of this cruise terminal and I guess what I would call a lack of space, it's just kind of the way it is. You see this line of all these vehicles coming in, and they're coming in from a different direction from us, but we all have to kind of merge in, like right here where this lady is, because we're trying to get all the way down to the cruise terminal to where we can get dropped off by the Uber driver. So right at this point in the video, that's what we're waiting on, is trying to make our way all the way down there. And this was kind of a new experience for us, because the Florida terminals in both Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and Port Canaveral are not designed like this. They don't have these kind of issues. If you're enjoying the video so far, please consider giving it a like. That really helps us grow the channel and increase our viewership. And if you'd like to see more videos like this and you haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing to the channel. And if you do subscribe, change that notification icon so that you get notified whenever I post a new video. So here you see on the right, that is the Celebrity Solstice, and I guess at this time of year with the Alaska cruises, part of the issue here is the fact that the Ovation of the Seas and the Celebrity Solstice are both loading and unloading on turnaround day at the same time. So, half of the people on this line are trying to get to the terminal to get on the Solstice. The other half are trying to get on the Ovation, or, so forth. But the real issue you're going to see that's causing all of this delay and all of this just sitting here in traffic trying to get to the point where you can drop people off is coming up in a minute, and I'm still just going to call it basically a lack of space, because it seems like what they did here is they took what was probably a regular freight terminal or freight pier for ships, however many decades ago, and they took it and said, we need a pier for cruise ships. Let's just take this one over here at Smith Cove and now we're going to have cruise ships coming in here. That's what it seems like to me, because it's just not very well thought out, because right here in front of you, you're going to see a stop sign where there's basically somebody directing traffic, and all of these lines of cars have to stop and wait for all of the passengers to and from to cross in front of them. And on the surface, you wouldn't think that's much of an issue. But when you see it in practice and you see it in reality, because we ended up experiencing it both here at the beginning of the cruise, just trying to get dropped off, and this turned out to be nowhere near as bad as the end of the cruise trying to get a taxi to get out of here. And it was really bad. So this whole line of people you see right here, over here on this side of the screen, between where we are and the Ovation right here, these are all people just trying to get taxis. Now, this was 10:30 in the morning, maybe something like that. And so by this point, all of these people from the previous cruise on the Ovation, the ones that were trying to get taxis, a lot of them had already gone, because when we came out towards the end of the cruise earlier in the morning at, say, like 9:30, 9:15, it was much worse than that trying to get the taxi. So this entire area basically suffers from a lack of space, because there's no way for the flow of cars to make it through here without having to stop and wait for the people to cross, because they didn't build any sort of a pedestrian bridge to go up over the traffic or anything like that. And that's why I think they just took an old shipping terminal from however far back and said, okay, we're just going to have cruise ships go through here. And it just wasn't planned out, wasn't thought out. We're over here in the Celebrity Solstice area trying to drop off luggage for the Ovation. There's just no room here, and you see just how much of a mess this is, trying to navigate through other people that are dropping off for either one of the two ships. Nothing's clearly marked. You basically have to look for the people in the vests to make sure that you're giving your luggage to the right person. It's just, I don't know. It's not anywhere near as fluid and efficient as the Florida ports. Now, the one thing I will say is all the gentlemen here taking the luggage were extremely helpful, extremely nice. Once we got past this bottleneck and we got into the cruise terminal, which you're going to see in the next video in the vlog, it was much, much better. So it was a good experience once we could get out of the vehicle to where we could hand off our luggage and start making our way towards the cruise terminal. It was just an unexpected delay of about 20 minutes, literally 20 to 30 minutes of sitting in that traffic just trying to get to the point where we could get out to drop off the luggage. So not a big fan of the Seattle cruise terminal, and this was just even before the cruise started. And then later on, when we were trying to get a taxi at the end to get back to our hotel after the cruise, it was even worse. So I stopped it right here in the video, because this right here is the absolute worst design you can think of, to have all of that traffic stop constantly waiting for people to cross. So I know that's kind of a negative viewpoint, but I'm going to tell it like it is. So let me know in the comments what you think, if you've been to the Seattle Pier before and had a better experience than we did. thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give it a like. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button and change your notifications and the bell icon so that you'll be notified every time I post a new video.